So, guess what's coming back? A certain invader.
Yes.
Invader Zim.
You thought we were going to say ponies.
No.
But they are.
But there are two. But
yes.
Invader Zim's coming back, and it's got like pretty much everyone involved again.
Yes.
I mean, Joan Vasquez is involved, and Richard Horvitz, and all of them.
Yes, I am excited.
Yes, it's a TV movie. It's like, oh wow, this is good. This is crazy. I mean, I just recently picked up some of the comics they did, and those have been fun. So it's kind of like, hey, yeah, Invader Zim's coming back. I mean, I know some people are kind of concerned about whether or not it can be any good at this point, but I don't care. I'm going to be excited, and no one can stop me.
And just think, we'll have a sudden resurgence of Zader Fix.
Oh, no.
Among other kinds, but, you have to mention that one.
And Hot Topic just rubbing his hands gleefully. But anyway.
It's gonna be glorious. Yes.
Hot Topic carries other merchandise, which is the kind of thing we usually talk about because it's got ponies on it. Because, well, this is Pony 411. Yes, this is Pony 411. This is episode 174 for the week of April 9th, 2017. I am Nemesis, joined by my co-host, Alca7raz. Yes, we do have quite a bit of actual big news regarding the pony stuff coming up. We also have a very, very laid-back discussion and some fan content, which is actually more than you'd think it would be. In a sense. But yes, we probably should go ahead and jump right into the news. If you want to follow along, go to pony411.libsyn.com/shownotes. All the stuff is there to click the links and get more information because we are not going to go super in-depth on everything.
No.
So let's get started with convention news. Project C PonyCon has opened applications for panels, activities, and musicians.
Yep.
Equestria LA has announced their Women in Animation panel with Lauren Faust and When I Grow Up series for children. They've also opened up vendor applications, and they've announced Chiara Zani will be attending. That is the voice of Daring Do.
Yeah.
I think it's Chiara. What
I don't know how to pronounce it.
I'm hoping I got it right. One of the two, I think. Or I'm completely wrong.
This is also an option. We have been wrong in the past.
Super wrong. Anyway, BronyCon has announced Kelly Sheridan, Vincent Tong, Kathy Westluck, and Maddie Peters will all be attending.
Yay.
A lot of guests. Yeah, they did a lot of guest announcements the last few weeks.
Yes, they did. A whole bunch of them came out.
Mm-hmm. And Everfree Northwest has announced their Grand Galloping Gala. It's free for all attendees on their Saturday night, and formal wear is encouraged but not required.
Yes.
So if you want to be that guy, and show up in a tuxedo t-shirt.
Yes, there's some people upset over this one a little bit because it replaces one night of pony stock.
Yeah, that also seems a little Me Too.
Yeah, it's like, aw, for those people who were wanting to play. It's like, it kind of gets cut down a bit. But hey, a lot of people do like the gala, so hopefully it goes well.
Out. I'm not going to be going to that. I'm not going to pack a suit.
I don't, that's not my kind of thing. But I do know apparently it's been popular with other conventions, so it does make sense that they want to branch out. Try and get more people
We'll see how that plays out when we get there, I guess.
Yes, we will.
Anyway, in fandom news, Brony Dance Party's Nightmare Night video is back up. Apparently they have worked things out a bit.
Yes.
It was basically, it was just kind of a weird thing of new stuff came up, which kind of caused issues. Like, basically, they got permission to use the song, but didn't have permission to monetize it, so it was kind of a weird thing they had to work out. Yeah,
there was, I don't know. It was odd, but they got it worked out. It's dealt with.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Stable Tech Studios is canceling their Fall of Equestria animation. But they'll still continue their other works like the radio play and source filmmaker whatnot. Apparently, it's just stuff happened. They couldn't really get it finished. It was just burnout, new people, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that happens sometimes.
Speaking of Fallout, though, Fallout 4 now has an Anthropony mod. I think it's ported over from Skyrim version.
What is that? The crimes against whatever?
Something like that. But yeah, you get Anthroponies walking around in Fallout now, if you want. If you don't
wouldn't
want,
you?
Because you like to sleep at night.
It was like I think it was like the Crimes Against Nature or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, merchandise. Not a whole lot this week, oddly enough.
Oddly enough, yes.
Yeah. Some of the Sea Pony brushables have appeared on eBay for the movie.
Yep.
So,
someone's like selling them out of the warehouses or factories.
Uh-oh, not this again. And Sweet Prince has released some main 6 cookie cutters.
Yay, so if you want to make ponies and eat them.
Wait, no.
No. But hey,
no.
cookie cutters.
Yes, you can buy them individually or as a set. And Twilight comes in 2 different versions. And Amazon's listing for the Elements of Harmony Volume 2 now has a cover, which looks a lot like the Volume 1 cover. What do you know?
What do you know?
Anyway, it's actually pretty cheap, and I ordered it, so we'll see that when it comes out in June. In comic news, IDW has revealed an exclusive cover of Friendship is Magic number 53 to be sold at the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo.
C2E2.
Mm-hmm. Interesting cover, and apparently it's actually being sold before it comes out at retail, because the convention is before the retail release. And a preview for Legends of Magic number 1 is up on iTunes, and Equestria Daily also has an extended preview for it, which is like, I think, a page longer. And Friends Forever number 38 also has a preview on iTunes, even though it was supposed to be out last month.
Yeah.
Yeah, they apparently just kind of got delayed for some reason, so it's coming out after the first issue of Legends of Magic. Okay.
Whatever.
I guess that's a thing that's happening. And Equestria Girls news. 2 unreleased Equestria Girls songs have leaked onto YouTube in Russian. Seems like a lot of things involving the words Russian and links have been coming up in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. But anyway, this is a more innocuous leak, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks like it's from some shorts instead of the full specials, because they look a lot like music videos. One of them is them rebuilding a bus for some reason, and rainbow rapping, because everyone wanted that.
Yeah, apparently.
And the other one is Twilight doing science. And a lot of timber nonsense thrown into, because I guess we need to remind everyone that, because I guess they saw that people weren't really too into timber, so they said, hey, remember timber? We're like, yeah, but we don't care. Still going to ship her with everyone else instead of timber. Also, it's a robot dog. Like, she builds a robot dog.
Interesting.
Who looks has a very similar color scheme to Rarity.
Oh my.
Yes.
Oh my.
Oh yes.
This has
Implications. Oh, yes. Yes, it does. So, moving on, though, our final section of news. Friendship is Magic news, actually. A new Season 7 promo is out, and it has a few new bits of animation in it. Mostly looks like from the first few episodes. It's like we see Flurry Heart in a shopping cart.
Yep.
Out of control, because Flurry Heart apparently is just bad luck incarnate.
Yeah, apparently. Well, that's like a trope. That's a standard trope. When dealing with crazy children, there's always a shopping mall scene with the cart going out of control. That's just like, all right, yep. Check that off the list.
Yep. Okay, well, that's a thing. So it's very short, but there's a few little new things in there. And, okay, spoilers ahead.
Yeah, yes.
Discovery Family has issued a press release with the titles and synopses of episodes airing in May, all 4 of them.
Yeah.
And they are, in order of airing, Fluttershy leans in. Fluttershy is determined to make her career dreams come true with the help of some very special ponies, but when her true vision is not being executed properly, she must find a way to stand up and fight for her ideas.
Career dreams. Are we going to finally figure out what Fluttershy actually does for a living? Or wants to do for a living? Because that's always been a question, is what does she actually do?
Obviously involves animals, but beyond that.
Yeah, because all the other ones have, jobs.
Or aspirations.
Well, what does Fluttershy do? I don't know. Apparently we're finally going to find out.
Finally.
Or at least what she wants to do.
Some very special ponies.
Very special ponies. This very special episode.
I wonder if this is actually the Shatner and Day.
Huh. It might be.
I speculated on them being Applejack's parents, but this might be where they are instead.
It might be.
We'll find out. Anyway, other episode, Forever Philly. When Rarity surprises Sweetabelle with a special day together filled with all of her favorite activities, she quickly learns that her little sister is no longer the little foal she used to be.
Aw, they're growing up.
Oh no. They're addressing that, I guess, because we're kind of in this weird sliding timeline thing of no one seems to grow up, and yet they do.
And yet they do. Yeah.
Oh boy, it's that thing of, oh no.
We're going to have a little Philly party, and it's like, this is
we're going to see Rarity
Phillies.
freaking out because, like, oh no, if she's growing up, that means I'm getting old.
Yes. Rarity.
And then
You're getting old.
Furiously inspecting herself in the mirror. Are there wrinkles? Are there any wrinkles? Oh no. Next one, parental guidance. When Rainbow Dash's parents discover she's a Wonderbolt, they show up at every event to cheer her on. However, their unabashed enthusiasm proves to be rather embarrassing and pushes Rainbow Dash to the brink.
This episode, we knew we were going to see Dash's parents, and apparently this is it.
They become overbearing when she finds out she's a Wonderbolt.
I have a couple questions. Mainly one. She didn't tell them. Apparently.
Maybe there's a reason she didn't tell them.
I'm thinking there's a reason. I'm thinking she expected this to happen. My theory is she didn't tell them because she'd expect this to happen, and now they found out it happened, and yeah.
Like, we get a line just, my parents are intense.
Intense.
Well, that explains Dash's personality then. Because Dash is pretty intense sometimes.
It could explain it. It could explain it in a couple different ways, actually.
And then, of course, my parents are so uncool. They act just like you. No! No! That's not true.
That's impossible.
Search your biggest fear. That biggest fear, you act just like your parents.
You've become your parents.
And that scares you when you realize that.
It's like
you try so hard.
You try everything you can to not become them, and it
happens anyway.
It makes it happen quicker.
And then, doomed. You're doomed.
Oh.
Okay. And the final episode they revealed, and boy, this is going to be an interesting one.
Oh boy.
Hard to say anything. When the Cutie Mark Crusaders discover that Big Mac has his first crush, they vow to help him win Sugar Bell's heart before Featherbangs does it first. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Headcanon wrecker here.
Yep, this is...
R.I.P. Cheramac? R.I.P. Marble Mac? Fluttermac's already dead.
It's not.
It's mostly dead.
It's
been on life support
on
for a long time. Oh boy. And Sugar Bell, who, if you remember, that's the baker from the town.
Yes.
Back in season 5 premiere. Voiced by Rebecca Choiquette. Oh boy, what's she doing? What is she doing in Ponyville?
Yes.
Is she visiting Starlight? Probably. Is she just seeing where these, the saviors of their town came from? Maybe. We don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Cutie Mark Crusaders discover. I want to know how they discover it and whether they actually discover it.
Probably just see Big Mac just go, bleh. Just, that whole thing.
Let's just hope it doesn't, tread the same ground as that one.
Hearts and Tuesday?
Yeah.
That'd be completely... I hope they would learn not to do Love Poison again. But the other thing is Featherbangs.
Who's Featherbangs?
Which in of itself is kind of an interesting name. But it's just... So it looks like Featherbangs has an interest in Sugar Bell? I don't know, maybe it's like a fusion between Hearts and Tuesday and what was that one? Simpler Ways? The one where Rarity...
With Trenderhoof?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, maybe.
Weird combination of those two. Yeah, anyway, that's the headcanon record. So I think we've gotten at least one every season. There's just one episode that just wrecks everyone's headcanon.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if my headcanons get wrecked in the Dash episode. Dash's parents, oh boy. Oh boy.
Yep.
It's not going to be Firefly. We already know their names.
Yep, no Firefly for you.
Unless it is, they just didn't change the name.
Whatever.
Anyway. I would accept that if it's if they reuse the designs. That would be cool.
They're not going to reuse the designs.
I know, but one can wish.
Anyway, moving on. A My Little Pony the Movie teaser trailer has been released.
Oh boy.
And yes,
there have been some comments.
It's interesting we finally get a trailer, which apparently they were saying August.
It's not really a trailer, it's a teaser, because it doesn't actually show anything.
Anyway, they said they weren't going to show anything until August. Now the Ocean teaser, which apparently is playing, I think, before the Smurfs movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just a quick little thing about, hey, we're going to do the thing with quick little bits of animation, and they looked kind of odd sometimes. Like Dash looked like she hadn't slept for 4 days straight.
The biggest thing I think that we're seeing is the shading was completely broken.
Yes.
And yeah, Rebecca Dart even came out and said...
She said it.
She said particularly that the 16-bit to 8-bit conversion destroyed it.
Yes.
And looking at it, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. And she said also if she was shown it, she would never have approved it.
Yeah. Also, to those who are freaking out, don't worry, the people who make these are not the people who make the movie.
Yeah.
The trailers and teasers are always done by someone else.
Some marketing people who don't know what they're doing.
Some other group screwed up the conversions and stuff like that. So the actual movie will not look like that. But other than that, the animation itself actually looked pretty decent.
Yeah. So hopefully when you get a full trailer, we'll actually
have not destroyed shadows.
Yes, that was pretty bad looking. But yeah, there's also some other ponies who were in there that looked interesting.
Yes, and there was one of them that was pink with blue hair and was a Pegasus.
Oh, jeez.
I want to believe.
It's not. That would probably mean that is not Dash's mom.
Yes. But it would still be kind of cool to see him pop up again.
It's the original main six.
That would be interesting, except the whole group was Pegasus. So that wasn't them.
Yeah. But, so, yes, it's a very short 30-second trailer that doesn't really show us a whole lot, except just what more or less a general idea of what they'll look like in motion when the movie comes out. Which, yes, it does look different from the show, not surprisingly.
Yes.
Because it's a whole different animation software and everything.
Yep.
So there's that.
They're
that
not
was
using
a big
Flash.
thing.
It's all done in Toon Boom.
Toon Boom Harmony.
Yep. Harmony.
That's a coincidence.
Aptly named.
Coincidence.
Yes, it is.
But in the final bit of news, though, it's actually related. A very high-resolution poster for the movie has been released, along with that, with a small presser, which just tells us exactly what we already know about the movie anyway.
Yeah.
But it's very, very high resolution.
Big picture.
Yes. Although it's not the greatest poster, if I'm going to be honest. The characters are kind of small on it with the massive logo. Massive logo, tiny characters. Probably should have done another pass on that poster before we released it, guys. Maybe make the characters have a little bit more focus over the logo, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe
you're not a marketer.
Yeah, I'm actually smart.
Hey, now there's lots of really smart marketers.
Not at Pepsi.
Oh God. No, not at Pepsi. I don't know what they were thinking.
Okay, there's my pot shot of the
yeah,
or second pot shot actually.
We've made a couple.
But yeah. That's it for the news, though. Moving on, our discussion is going to be very laid back. We're going to be talking about fanfiction stuff in general. Not anything really specific here. We're just going to talk about some of the stuff we like, dislike, and etc. about fanfics. So, just kind of, yeah, I'm just going to try to get the ball rolling and just kind of, I guess, talk about some of the stuff I particularly like, because, well, I'm kind of the fanfiction guy, I guess.
At least here, yeah.
Yeah. You've probably noticed a lot of my stories that I feature
are trash.
You shut your mouth. It tend to be more long form, like multiple chapter and kind of very adventurous, but they also have, well, romantic elements to them. So it's like I kind of like those adventure romance stories and whatnot. Yeah, you see that come up a lot with me. Just I think it's deep down, I'm kind of a romantic at heart, oddly enough.
Apparently.
I really like those kind of stories.
You are shipping trash, but aren't we all?
I also like the short, goofier stories too. The like one shot. This is very silly, completely unserious stuff.
Yeah, so it's like you like sit on the extremes. You like the really short one shots or the really big long ones.
Oh yeah, the 100,000 some odd word fics that make it's like here read this
big epic stories.
Yeah, the big adventures where they go off or fight some big evil or have to find some old ancient artifact or whatever. I love those kind of things. I also like when there's little shipping things in there too. I mean,
especially if it's a certain kind of ship.
Yeah, notable ones. I've included in the podcast itself. The Enchanted Library, Long Road to Friendship, whatever that one with Twilight and Luna was called, the Victorian-esque one.
Oh yes, the Mayor Who Once Lived on the Moon.
Something like that. It's something like that. I don't remember the actual name now. I feel guilty for it. But yeah, so those are all long form.
Yeah, big and
they
stories.
also have that. While it's not necessarily the primary focus, they also have a very strong romance. The Mayor Who Once Lived on the Moon.
Yes.
On the moon. But long form with a strong but not necessarily primary focus on romance as well.
Yeah, it's not a shipping fic. It's a big fic that has shipping in it, kind of a thing.
I like that sort of thing. But I also like the shorter, fluffier things because those things I don't tend to feature because they tend to be very similar and very
There's only so much you can do with 1,000 words.
Yeah, some of those are just kind of like, fluffy, short things. And they're very similar to it. There's not really anything. They're nice. They're enjoyable, but they're nothing outstanding, which I don't tend to feature those.
Yeah.
Unless they do something, unless I think they do something notable.
Yeah, that's what you usually look for in feature stuff, is something notable or something.
Or just something I really, really, really like.
Even if it's notable in itself.
Yeah. So,
yeah, for me, I don't get to feature. Because that's your job. But I do have my preferences and stuff like that. You like your long forms or really short. For me, I'll tend to take whatever comes at me. I don't have any sort of preference for really long ones or really short ones. I'll take the medium length ones as well too. It's
for me too,
really. I don't really have any genre preferences either. I just really like a good story.
Except you like making yourself sad.
I was going to get that. Don't take my points. I have found, and I don't know why, I still have not figured out, but for some reason I keep reading really sad fics, and they make me really sad, and then I keep reading more, and then I get more sad, and I don't know why I keep reading them.
Then he lies down and tries not to cry and cries a lot.
I don't know why I keep reading them, why I have a draw to those sad ones, but it's... I don't know. I don't get that one, but I like them, and I don't know why. Because they make me sad. But even in the sad stuff, I don't like just all sad. I do like to keep a little bit of, whenever you have a little bit of uplifting bit to it. Bittersweet. I really like the bittersweet stuff. I don't know why. But yes, also I do like a bit of shipping too. But again, not like,
you like
romance. Yes, I do have my shipping preferences. But like you, I don't shipping just to be shipping. I mean, they're not bad, but it's not.
I do read that. I will admit, I do often read this stuff. That's the sole purpose is to ship two characters together, and that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like the shipping being part of it, but not the main focus as well. But again, for me, it's just I want a good story. Whatever genre it is, if you can present it well and get me interested, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be big adventure, and I like them all really the same. Just a good story is a good story.
I do prefer the adventure stuff, but I will read other stuff. Like I have featured that one horror fic that, or several times I've done horror fics, and it's like
there was a couple you featured in that big one a while back.
The Cthulhu-esque one, the Lovecraftian one. That was an interesting journey where it's like we see rarities ascend into madness.
Trying to remember which one
that was. And it's just like the
was.
chapters were laying out in such a way like some of them like maybe 3 words or something.
Oh, that one. That one was really good.
Yeah, stuff like that is like.
That's another one that we haven't. Stories that make you think.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones really get me. If you can make me think, that's gonna make me remember.
The thing is,
your
the problem with those sometimes you got someone who tries and completely fails because
there's harder to do those well.
You really have to know what you're doing to get those working.
Yeah, those ones, if you can get a good one of those, that's a quick way to get me to remember your fic, is if you can make me think.
Mm-hmm. I know you're the same boat, which is not super into gory stuff.
I don't really do gore.
Especially if it's for the sake of being gore, obviously.
Yeah, if it's gore for the sake of gore, I'm out. I'm sorry.
One of the big exceptions for me, of course, was the Immortal game, which had a lot of more gory things in it, but there was a purpose to it and whatnot.
Yeah,
and it didn't revel in it. That was the really long way you're complaining Twilight was overpowered by the end.
that one. Twilight is OP the fanfic. That was basically that one.
But that one was, well, the thing was they had gore and whatnot in it, but it served a purpose. It wasn't reveling in it. Yes,
I mean, sometimes when you're dealing with dark things and, when there's, a war or whatnot, there's going to be stuff like that. When it's there, when it's expected to be there, then it makes sense as long as you don't, go gratuitously and super detail into how much gore there's like... At that point, I think I'm out.
Yeah, like Charlie's Garden. Jeez.
Won't ever read that. Same with Apple Family Massacre.
You shouldn't read that. You shouldn't read that either. That one's really screwed up. Don't read those.
I'm also not touching Cupcakes for multiple reasons, and I know you've read that one.
Yeah, I've read all 3 of those, and one of them's outright just plain poorly written. That's Cupcakes, and the other 2 are just their whole thing is they are just
grimdark for the sake of grimdark or for shock value. Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I'll never ever feature that sort of thing ever.
Yeah, it reminds me of an old fic that unfortunately got canceled.
Mm-hmm. That sucks.
It was an old one by
that is the worst thing
by Kitsune Risu, which is the Cthulhu-esque rarity one that you were talking about. Same author. It was These City Walls. Yeah. And I was really enjoying that one. And yes, it had dark themes. And yes, there was murders and there was little bits of gore. But I think the biggest thing about it is the characterizations that it had made you think. The stuff it was bringing up made you think about it, and I was really enjoying it, and then it got canceled. It's like
one thing that's really annoying you brought this up, which is the fic. It's really really interesting, and you're reading through it, and you get to the end, and then you notice, oh wait, the last time this was updated was like last year.
Yeah,
and That's worse is if it's not marked as canceled, it's just marked on hiatus or just incomplete, which means, oh no, you don't know if they're ever going to come back.
I have a couple fics that I've been watching.
That is the worst feeling, especially when you're just getting into it.
Yes, it is. Oh, well, there's also that feeling that comes with any like fanfic or even webcomics where you find it, you go, oh, this is kind of cool looking. You go back and read through it, and you just binge, and then you get to the end, and now after binging through it, now you have to wait for the update.
You have to wait
with everyone else. It's like
I haven't. I've noticed. I've started to do that thing of like if it's
wait
a fic,
for it's complete.
Yeah, wait until it's looking like it's almost complete, or it is pretty much complete before I feature it on here. Sometimes I'd make an exception if I think it's really good and it seems to have a consistent update schedule, like the Enchanted Library, which is very consistent.
Sometimes quicker than expected.
Yeah, so it's been pretty consistent, and so that one, it's like I had no problem featuring that one early. Versus
now that we seem to have escaped our curse.
Yeah, Long Road to Friendship was a kind of an odd one because I was part of that fanfiction Unleashed thing initially, but then I kept tabs on it as it came out, and that was a little. It's still updated somewhat frequently, but it was pretty random. And there is a sequel, but I'm waiting on that one.
I've been reading wondering when you're going to mention it.
I've been reading it, but I'm waiting on until it's complete before I decide whether or not to actually feature it. There's another fanfic, the Irony of Applejack.
Yes, we're still waiting for that one to finish.
The sequel's out, and it's been going. It's pretty long. I think it's like 20-something chapters now. So it's pretty long, but I'm waiting because I've noticed that update schedule's pretty inconsistent. I don't want to. And there's unfortunately Apple Bloom Transformer Morale, it just kind of stopped updating.
Yeah. I think there was a couple of those where you feature them on, all of a sudden they stop. It's like, oh.
Like the second fic I ever featured on this thing way back just stopped updating. I was so upset about that.
Yeah. Then I had at least one fic. It ran and then it kind of stopped, and it stopped for years, and then picked back up again, and then stopped.
It's just like that's weird when that happens.
Oh, you're playing with my heart.
It's also weird when you notice some massive improvement in the writing style because it took so long between updates.
Yep, and then they got better, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's just kind of sometimes then the writer says that dreaded thing of, I'm going to go back and update the old chapters before I can go any further forward. It's like, uh-oh.
But sometimes, again, that can be a good thing. They can go back and fix things or maybe retcon some things.
Yeah. Sci-fi, I've noticed, with the MLP in particular, sci-fi is hard to do. With
MLP
because it's kind of, you can do science fantasy better, but sci-fi stuff is kind of iffy just because the world itself is very much steeped in fantasy.
Yeah, there seems to be this interesting magic versus technology. It's not just an MLP thing. You see it in anywhere where you deal with fantasy. Yeah.
Actually, I've been reading or watching an anime with that sort of thing, actually.
Yeah, there seems to almost be this conflict where those that have magic never develop technology because, why would you need technology when you have magic? So it's weird doing sci-fi around a magic world. It can be done.
Yeah, I've seen it successfully.
And sometimes, though, I've seen them remove magic and turn it into technology.
Yeah.
Oh, God, there was this one I was reading a while back. It never kept going, but it was like basically retelling the story of the first few episodes of the show, or at least the first two, in Asimov style. So hard sci-fi.
Yeah.
Which, that one's tough to do, and it's tough to find readers for because not a huge amount of people like it.
Hard sci-fi is very niche.
It is a very niche thing. I do like it, and I think it was doing very well. It was like, it was also humanized.
That sounds
humanization.
Familiar.
It stopped. It was old. It was, I can try and remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the same one, but I remember there was one like the unicorns described as very frail looking.
Something like that. And the Pegasus had it was like a jetpack thing, and stuff like that. But they were in a ship, basically.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. It might be the same one.
Spaceship.
It might be the same one.
It might be the same one you're thinking of, but it stopped updating. But yeah, from what I was reading, it was really good. For hard sci-fi, it's not one you see very often, but it's very hard to do.
Yeah. Something I'm going to talk about some negative things for a bit.
That's fine. We're going to have to get into them eventually.
Yeah, something pet peeves. I mean, we kind of already been going through negative stuff anyway, but some pet peeves that pop up occasionally in fanfics. Mostly for me, it's just gross spelling errors.
Yeah, it's like you should have a spell checker.
Yeah, at the very least, I understand if you just use the wrong word or something, or just the spell check corrects it into the wrong word, which it happens. But that's also what proofreaders and stuff are for. But I think the big one for me is shining armor, how it's spelled. I've noticed a lot of people add an extra N, so we get shinning armor.
Shinning armor.
Yeah, and then there's the other one, which they add the U, which I know this is a weird one. I know British English has the U in armor, but because Shining Armor is a proper name, you don't have the U because you don't change the spelling of someone's name just because it doesn't match the normal word.
Yep. Names do not get localized.
Yeah, so
like that.
If you literally had a sentence like Shining Armor put on his armor, and you use British spelling, you'd have two different spellings of armor in that sentence.
Yes.
And cadence is a weird one. That one I don't blame people on.
That one, everyone messes up, and it's confusing since day one.
The official spelling, though, is A instead of E, so it's K-dance.
Yes.
That is the official spelling now. They did kind of interchange them for a while initially, but they kind of settled on K-dance. So just remember that.
It's like which one is that one? Like a drum cadence?
Well,
or is it? Because they're both real words.
I don't think K-dance is. No, K-dance is not a real word. It's cadence is the real word that was, and then they changed it to dance just for, I guess, trademark reasons.
That would make sense.
So those two.
But yeah, it was confusing from day one.
Yeah, those two spelling errors I see frequently. There's some ones that were back in the old days of the fandom that just don't pop up so much anymore. Like I've seen Applejack spelled as two words. I've seen Pinkie Pie spelled with a Y.
Cheerily.
Cheerily. That's the weird one.
That was one that caught people a few times.
It doesn't help. How you pronounce it doesn't look like how you spell it. And of course, Aloysius just throws everyone off.
Yeah.
They go. I've noticed some fanfic writers tend to gloss over the owl's existence or mentioning the name because
here's what I would do in that case: go out and find how to spell it, put it into a Word document or some sort of notes while you're writing, so you don't have to spell it. You just copy paste the word in every time.
Yeah.
Or make like an autocorrect system. Most word editors will do that.
Speaking
you can
of,
put it in autocorrect.
Apple Bloom is actually still frequently spelled as one word, even though it is two.
It is technically two words.
Even that one thing, Apple Bloom Transformer out, makes that mistake.
Yep. It's Applejack is one word, Apple Bloom is two.
Yeah. There's that. The big one, my single biggest pet peeve when I'm reading a fic, and this is not a spelling thing, this is how a lot of writers handle Pinkie Pie.
Oh, you've brought this one up a few times talking about.
But the thing is, it's fandoms have a tendency to flanderize characters because what happens is a character will do one thing that's kind of notable or funny or whatever, and they'll drive it into the ground because they'll decide that's the only character trait that character will ever have ever again.
Derpy likes muffins.
Exactly. Twilight's naive. Rainbow Dash is just goes
really
fast.
Want to go there because
Rainbow Dash just goes
I
fast.
Have a few complaints on that one.
Like you can do it for the sake of being funny. But the thing was, with Pinkie in particular, what happens is Pinkie broke the fourth wall a few times in the show. She hasn't actually broken it that often.
Yes,
she's broken it a few times, and the thing is, people latched on to that and decided that's all Pinkie Pie does.
Yeah.
So and not only that, they do it in ways that just simply aren't funny. What happens is we have Pinkie talking about how basically they're in a fic, or we're going the next paragraph, or talking directly to the author or the reader. And the thing is, she never did it like that in the show.
Yeah,
and the other thing is, I've said this before, Pinkie Pie operates on the rule of funny.
Yeah, she can only do it if it's funny. So make sure you have a good sense of humor.
It's not funny. The problem is we have people, rather than actually writing jokes and comedic bits for Pinkie, they just reuse the fourth wall thing. I've seen fics where just every single chapter is just Pinkie doing some fourth wall break constantly. So it just becomes so annoying. Or it's just frequently, and just other characters, what's going on, Pinkie? Oh, Pinkie, you're being weird again. Stuff like that.
So random.
Yeah.
Random does not mean fourth wall breaking. Random is different.
Well, it still breaks the fourth wall because she's talking to the audience or whatever, or referring to the fact she's in a fic. Problem is, it's just simply not funny, and it's just overly reliant on just that one aspect, which was not even that frequently used in the show itself. And I wish people would stop, because the problem is pretty clear they just simply don't know how to write Pinkie, so they do that.
Yeah, Pinkie doesn't actually break the fourth wall that often. Stop.
Yeah, I mean,
every now and then it's fine if you do it right, if you do it in moderation, and when it's actually funny. But
yeah, if it's just Pinkie just talking about how something's going to happen in the next paragraph or something,
that's another thing you have to watch out for. It's one reason why you want to tend to avoid breaking the fourth wall in any sort of medium, is it can break your immersion and your suspension of disbelief.
I've seen it where people, it's a serious fic and they're still having Pinkie break the fourth wall.
It's like, it breaks your immersion. It pulls you out of the story when you read something like that. So it's not something you want to do all the time.
To be honest, the pinky fourth wall thing, I have seen very rarely done well. There was one time it was actually done particularly well because I
think I know which one you're talking
about. It was actually a Halloween fic.
Yeah, the one with Twilight.
Mm-hmm. And that one was actually done really well just because it made it into a central plot point.
And it probably wasn't overdone either.
No, it was for that chapter. And it was because it was a story anthology. So it was just kind of, that was interesting just because we see, it turns out Twilight more or less broke the fourth wall, but she doesn't know what it is. So she's freaking out, and then Pinky knows what it is and tells Twilight what it is, and Twilight's able to calm down and stuff. And but the thing is, the fic doesn't, at all one point, doesn't really give you a clue what it actually is until the very end. Because it's just Pinky, it's just Twilight's freaking out. Pinky figures out what's wrong, and so Twilight is able to calm down. She's fine, and she and Pinky start laughing at some weird joke that no one else gets. And then eventually we get to the end, and it's just that, and then there's like a line, something along, Twilight turns to you and says, "Well, I guess this is good night."
Yeah,
and that's when it's revealed Twilight broke the fourth wall. Which, by the way, Twilight has broken the fourth wall in the show. So as Trixie, Spike, and Discord. So,
opening up weird,
and possibly Applejack, and Rarity. So it's not like it's limited to Pinkie Pie. So if you're going to go with this thing of I think if anything you're going to do with fourth wall break, you'd have to have something like the other characters are well aware, but they're trying to get Pinky to stop it. That's one way.
That could be interesting.
Again, you just have to do it right. And I think, I'm just me criticizing how people handle Pinky more or less, because people just don't seem to know how to write her very well.
Yeah,
it's one thing, especially if you're doing a series fic and you have a comedic character. How do you handle that?
It is. It's like
you can.
It is. You can, obviously. I've seen it done, but you have to do it carefully. You can't just throw random comedy.
Also,
into
it's
situations.
just kind of also a general thing of don't get so focused on a single aspect of a character you forget everything else about them, because these are well-written characters with lots of aspects to them, and when you narrow it down to a single thing like that, you're kind of not taking the character to his full potential.
Yeah.
And I've seen fics, again, Twilight is taking, her naivety is just so ridiculous that it's like unbelievable. You can't, your suspension of disbelief is just shot because she's acting in such a way that
she's acting out of character.
Our 5-year-old would understand this better than she is right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some that, again, comedic, but it's still just really? I've seen the early shipping fics particularly had Twilight so she had no idea even what romance was.
Yeah.
It's you can't really, come on. But there's...
Yeah, and that happens. I see. I mean, and sometimes seeing them is also going to be dependent on the characters you like. Obviously, you're going to focus more on your favorite characters. You're going to see it, although Pinky's kind of an exception, because I know she's not super high on your favorite list.
Not anymore. She's down there. She's number 4 now.
Yeah, 5 for me, but I see a lot of that happen with Rainbow. Mm-hmm. People write her in a way that just irks me.
What do you know? People write her in the way that irks me too, but probably for different reasons.
Probably for different reasons.
I've noticed a lot of Twilight fics tend to focus hardcore on Dash with Twilight. It's almost like Twilight's just kind of there just because she has to be. I've seen most Twilight Dash fics tend to seem to focus on Dash's perspective or whatever. Then Twilight's kind of sometimes there's some touching to the point where Twilight even barely appears. And this is a Twilight Dash fic, right?
I think I know which one you're talking about.
There's been several like that, so it might be one of them. But it's Twilight's barely there. It's this is a Twilight Dash fic, right? Double check, yes. So why is Twilight barely even in this?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have two main characters, they both need to be main characters. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's okay to... I mean, it's not wrong to have a shipping fic where one of them's a secondary character. It's not wrong to do that if you want to, have a focus. So that's not really.
But this is kind of to the point where you could have taken Twilight to the point of just removing Twilight's name, replace it with a different one, and it really doesn't make any difference. That's pretty bad.
It could be. It again, that depends on how the story goes. It could be, is it important that it's actually Twilight, or is it important that she's, is there a relationship? It doesn't matter who it is. I don't know. It depends on the story, really.
In this particular case, it was pretty bad.
But yeah.
But another thing, I tend to avoid this, and unless something amazing comes out, I'm never going to feature a fic like this, which is Human in Equestria.
Ah, right.
I don't like those. I'm definitely not alone in that.
Yes,
A
human
large
in
chunk of the fandom doesn't like
Equestria.
it because what happens is it often devolves into author insert.
Okay, now you brought that up. I was going to use a slightly different word, but since you're going to bring up author insert, and since this directly
Which is
ties
bad
into, which directly ties into human equestria, sort of, because they tend to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to counter your statement with author insert, and you said it was bad. Author insert, per se, is not bad. The problem occurs that author insert almost invariably ends up being a Mary Sue. Mary Sues are bad. But
Mary
the author
Sues as well.
insert, per se, in and of itself, is not. However,
Not necessarily,
it's like
but-
if you have a quote-unquote good author insert, it will probably be indistinguishable from any other OC
Oh, yeah.
to anyone but the author and the author's close friends who know the author, kind of a thing. It's like, that's a thing. It's
Yeah, that's the
no
thing.
one should
Well,
really... If you can go, this was an author insert, chances are it wasn't great.
Yeah, the thing is, someone noticed, I can't verify this myself, but someone I think claimed that more, I think this was at a fanfiction panel like Everfree or something, but someone said, human equestria fics tend to be written and enjoyed by the younger portion of the fandom, the teenagers and whatnot. The middle schoolers. They tend to enjoy and write those more often than the older part of the fandom, which kind of goes, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't make that claim without seeing more numbers, personally. I would
This
want
is
to
a
see
guy
someone
who's
back
really
that up,
immersed
but
in the fanfic community, so he might know about this.
he might. I would say, just a quick off the top of my head assumption, so I'm probably completely wrong, but I think it's generally the idea of those who really want to be there themselves, who would want to put themselves
But that's
in
the
that
thing
situation.
that's my thing is, I don't want to read about your adventure in Equestria. I don't care. Honestly, as callous as it sounds, I don't care about you.
It's kind of callous. I think it kind of turns
You know
around
what
the
I
other
mean?
way.
I
If
don't
you-
care about what you're doing in Equestria. If anything, I'm going to think about what I do in Equestria.
I think that's the point. I think for a lot of them, and especially if it's written well as it could be, is that the human that gets put into Equestria, you could put yourself in their shoes,
well, the
and
thing
you
is,
could
I've
imagine
noticed
them
most
as
of those
yourself.
aren't like that.
A lot of them aren't.
Most aren't.
But again,
I mean, I don't mind the ones where it's like it's a actual person per se. Like I think I saw one that was a goofy one. It was Top Gear goes to Equestria and it was very silly. It was very silly. Where Twilight more or less takes Clarkson for a ride in the sense that she's able to get the sum of all human knowledge for a bit,
oh my,
including how to build a nuke.
oh my.
Because she saw it, realized it was important, and it told Clarkson that she'd give her. This is all just paper. I'll get rid of it for you. I'll give you a bit to just go. I'll go recycle it. Yeah, but there's stuff like that. So stuff like that I don't mind so much. And that's another thing, kind of related. Crossovers are kind of a weird thing in general.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I've read some really good
Those are
ones.
difficult to do. There's two different kinds. There's the two sets of characters meet together. I saw, and I could say an Animorphs one.
Like literally crossing over between the two.
An Animorphs one where the Animorphs and the Yeerks and all that jazz showed up on Equestria, and that was like the problem was it never got finished.
Well, hey, at least it won't have an ending like the actual Animorphs did.
Or
God, I was so pissed.
But anyway, and there's the other kind, which is kind of the fusion crossover, which is you take two characters and smush them together into a kind of a hybrid of the two.
Yeah, or basically you take a story
Where
from
I've seen,
one and you redo it with ponies.
I saw a Mass Effect MLP fic where Twilight was Shepard.
Yeah.
She was Commander Sparkle. So, you have Rex saying Sparkle.
Sparkle.
And stuff like that, because the ponies took the place of the humans in that particular thing.
There's also crossovers where they don't directly replace a story, but they get put into the world.
Yeah.
I think Silpho was thinking about if you know that artist, was going to do like an Asblog thing of Mass Effect ponies, except it was, I think they said it was something like a world where at the end of 3, Shepard basically shot Space Casper and the Reapers killed everything.
Oh,
so the
now
world started up again with
the
ponies this
are now-
time, and
okay.
we've reached back to this point.
But
So it's still a crossover, but it's another kind of crossover.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not in the place of an existing story, but
Yeah.
it takes place in a
there
different
might be
story's
the two.
world.
There's actually, I remember very early on in the fan. This was like 2011. There was 2 Mass Effect pony crossovers. One was, like I said, the ponies take place with the humans. The other one was ponies are another race who discovered space travel and found the Citadel and all that crap. So they're another race. They're both there. They're both interesting, and they both got canceled because for one author lost interest in MLP and the other author lost interest in Mass Effect because they played Mass Effect 2 and got so upset they decided to quit.
Well, at least it means they didn't have to hit the disappointing Mass Effect 3 ending.
But yeah, so that stuff, I mean, gosh,
yeah, crossovers is tough. I read one
crossovers,
years
I remember
ago.
there was a Stargate one. That was interesting. That was actually really well done. Because that's one of those things that's built in, because you got the Stargate, and they went through the Stargate, and there's one on Equestria, it turns out, and...
Oh, or there's another set of one that I was reading that was actually a crossover with Myst.
Yeah.
And Riven.
Yeah, I read that one too.
And then the third one, I don't know if the third one finished or not.
Yeah.
Those were cool because it was you could follow along if you've played the games, but it deviated from the games as well. So it wasn't a direct, just you didn't know exactly what was going to happen.
Those are lazy crossovers. I've seen that where it's just you're just taking word for word the same thing. And just
those ones are lazy. But this one was good because it wasn't.
Yeah. It was actually Jackson. And so I did a lot with that Target when you had Jackson and Twilight interacting a lot. And I think there's at the end, there's kind of implications, but...
oh my.
Exactly. But beyond that, there's also, of course, so some stuff lends itself, like magic stuff. Like with this, magic tends to lend itself really well, as we've seen, crossing over to alternate universes, as the show has done itself now.
Yes.
Well, the spin-off of the show did.
Yeah.
And I guess the comics did it too.
Yeah, the comics sort of did it.
The show itself hasn't done anything like that yet.
Yet.
Here's hoping. But anyway... Oh, wow, we're running long.
Yeah. One other thing that I did want to bring up about this, and this is going to be, we're going to be back and forth on this one. OCs in general.
I don't like OCs.
You don't. I don't care.
Here's the thing. For me, OCs, to me, it's when they become the focal point. I don't care. I'm not here to read the fanfic about your character. I'm here to read about the characters I care about from the show. If they're in there, fine. Like, again, Enchanted Library, it has that one... guard guy or whatever he's an OC, but he's not
he's required. You can't put another
he's not a primary character who kind of overshadows the story. That's my problem. Again, OCs have a tendency to kind of start overshadowing, and I don't like that.
And for me, I don't care. I'll read a story about primarily OCs.
For me it's the fanfics. It's for me, I am here when it comes to fanfiction, I'm here to read about these characters from this property I like. Mm-hmm. So if you start focusing on these other characters, I'm losing interest fast. Unless you did a really, really amazing job, in which case...
Yeah, for me, I'm the opposite. When I go to read something like that, I'm there to read a good story. It doesn't have to have
the thing for me,
those characters that I already know.
I like things being character-driven, so for me, it has to be these characters I am...
But you can have character-driven without an existing character.
That's the thing. But that's the thing. I'm here for these characters.
Yes, I know you are, but I'm not. I'm here for a story. So, you give me a story. It doesn't
sometimes
matter.
I will read a totally cliche, predictable story as long as the characters I like are there and doing stuff that is in character for them.
Sometimes, though, there's a story you want to tell that the existing characters wouldn't fit in with. So you would have to use OCs as a primary force. At that point,
I'd honestly say that you might as well go for a full-blown your own thing.
But it may also need stuff that has ponies in it. But the characters won't fit. The characters you need to progress the story and tell the story, you would have if you were to use a main character, it would put them out of character. But the story also depends on certain magic elements and stuff like that are present in Equestria. So you'd still have to be ponies, but the main 6 wouldn't work. So
that's when
I don't want to eliminate those
that's
stories.
That's when you write Philly Fantasia fics then.
Oh, God. But still, I'm here for a story, and to me, it can be OCs. As long as it's a good story.
Well, anyway, for me, it's just,
it's
hard for me to get into that because I'm in a mindset of I want to read about Twilight or Rarity or whatever. So
I just want to make sure that's out there just, to counter any ideas that you might have as saying OCs are objectively bad. They are not. You can have a very good OC primary story.
You can, but I'm not going to read it.
You might. I might read it. You might not.
I probably won't. It'd have to be amazing, but good luck. So we could keep going, honestly. We probably could, but we probably should have stopped talking a while ago about this stuff because we got to move on to other fan works because...
Yes, other fan works.
We got to get this go through, so go with music.
I got 3 songs to feature. The first one is Royal Pony's remix of Legends You Are Meant to Be. This is a nice, happy, bouncy, hands up is a genre remix of the song. And I think it was pretty well put together. It's part of like a 6-song EP they just put out of remixes from Legends of Equestria. And this is one of the better ones, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the intro in this one. It was very different. Nice remix overall. And I like the chimes at the very end of it, too.
Yeah, that little arpeggio thing.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
That was cool. Next one I have, this one's a bit interesting. This is Let's Eat Hay, Once Upon a Time.
Once upon a time, in the magical land of Equestria, there were 2 regal sisters who ruled together and created harmony for all the land. To do this, the eldest used her unicorn powers to raise the sun at dawn. The younger brought out the moon to begin the night.
Yes, that's their name. Let's Eat Hay. This is brand new. This is the first song that they've ever posted, and it's different. I'm not entirely certain how to describe it. It basically goes through the intro story, not the first episode, but that intro story, using vocals and effects on that. I think it was really well done, even though I can't really describe how it is. It sort of gives me
musical storybook,
sort of, and it sort of gives me this a subtle reminder of like 90s techno sound effects.
Yeah, I was struggling with that
so
too. I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, but it's hard to describe, but I do like it. I think it was really well done.
Yeah, it's a very unique thing, that's for sure. And I also like the echo that they did on the vocals too. So it's actually, it's interesting. It's a very unique song compared to what we usually get.
Yes, that's why it was put up here. And this is their first song to come out, so hopefully they do more. Mm-hmm. All right, and the last one, Thyri's Injuring Eternity. This is an upbeat song, but it still keeps that nice driving beat, so it isn't just like super bouncy all over the place. It has a nice driving beat while keeping upbeat stuff. I do like it's got some good breakdowns as well, and I like its timing. It's got a good flow and timing between when the quote verses, the build up, and then the breakdowns, and then coming back. It just flows really well. It's really well done, and it's got, you can tell listening to the melody, it's got this sort of emotion or story to it. I don't know what it is, because this is actually based off of a fanfic.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably should read it.
Yeah, fanfic by Monochromatic, the same person who did Enchanted Library, which we'll get to in just a second. But yeah,
literally just a second.
Yeah, a bit lullaby. Yeah, it's a bit lullaby-like in the beginning, and then also there's a lot of the sound of it. Most of the song is kind of a crystal-ish sound.
Yeah.
And anyway, this is a fanfic where it's a Twilight. I remember. Okay, brief thing about this. Twilight goes back in time because this is a really old Twilight who's been around for hundreds of years at this point. Because she used to be with Rarity, but Rarity was mortal.
Yes.
So part of her just kind of in a moment of weakness, she went back to see her old wife, and that's what it's about. It's pretty heart-wrenching at times too, I'll say that.
Yeah, I could tell there was sort of a bittersweet emotion to it, but I couldn't quite place it until you told me that.
So there you go.
Yep,
it's interesting. I would highly recommend it. I never featured it. I think it was a weird time. I think I featured something else instead at the time. But anyway, it's multi-chapter too. I remember that. But anyway, fanfiction.
Yes.
Fanfiction. Same author. Enchanted Library. 4 new chapters. Actually, 2 chapters and 2 interludes.
Yes.
But okay, quick. Let's me think. Discord shows up for real.
Real Discord.
And also Rarity finally reads a letter she should have read a long time ago, and kind of starts to pull herself out of a slump.
Things are looking up.
Hopefully, actually up. Oh yeah, Monochromatic changed their name back to Monochromatic.
Okay.
It was Jupiter something or whatever.
8.
Yeah. So now it's Monochromatic again. Okay.
All right.
I'm fine with that. That's the feature. Or that's the update. Featured though, Sunlight Sliders, and this one. Exactly. Basically, it's Sunset and Twilight wind up accidentally going through a whole bunch of different dimensions. That's the gist of it.
It's sliders.
Yeah, it's sliders with sunlight.
Literally
so,
got the device and
sunlight,
everything.
which tells you exactly what it's about too. So yeah, there's a lot of little things that go through different worlds and whatnot, and interesting adventures happen. There's also some, tinges of Rick and Morty there too, if you see it. So part of the reason I featured it was, yes, it's sunlight, so that's one thing.
Because
the other
you're trash.
reason, if you notice, I have not actually told you the author. The reason is, this is a collaboration. Yeah, this is a collaboration between multiple authors. They were in a fanfiction group, and all of them, what happened was, I think they all had 3 days to write a chapter of 1,500 words or less. So that's the thing. There is some quality dips and bobs here and there. I think one author, what happens, they try to rush to a very particular kind of thing, and the other author had to pull it back because...
Yep.
Yeah. So author list. Okay, here we go.
Oh boy.
Novel idea. Not So Wicked Witch. Tumbleweed. Drakey C. Fuzzy Fervor. AQK. Marwile. The New York Brony. Sunset. Ouroboros. Odd One Out. Chernobog. Kaylin Night Eyes. Edserdian. Rate Donnie, Space Jazz, The Albino Corn, cover art, Siset Daily, Dubs Rewatcher, Death Scar, Eben Quill, Jernsey, Xenoheart, and Radiant Beam.
Never.
Some of those names you might recognize because I have featured fics from them.
Some of them you might recognize.
Yeah, Albino Corn, Ouroboros, Radiant Beam in particular. Siset Daily, does that Tumblr blog where it's Siset Daily.
That was a cool chapter. Actually, that whole chapter was a comic. It was in comic format.
Yeah.
What's
interesting also for me is it's OG Sunlight. So it's Twilight, it's Princess Twilight with Sunset, which we haven't kind of seen a lot lately. It's mostly been focused on sci-fi. So I'm kind of happy about that.
Also, Chernobog. Never doubt Chernobog's involvement.
Yeah. So
Of course
this is a lot
Dash.
Yeah, of course it did.
It's Chernobog.
But it was actually a lot of fun overall, in my opinion. It's just a lot of fun and big adventures. There's a lot of cool bits in there, including a bit about don't turn out like me. You'll understand the context of that. Or don't become me.
It was really cool. I did enjoy this one. I liked how they did everything. And this sort of leads to your like of long epic stories.
Yeah, this is like 28 romance. Chapters or so.
So yeah, it was really good.
A couple of the authors did have to do a secondary chapter to wrap it all up, but yeah, it's about 41,000 words, 27 chapters plus an epilogue. Yeah, chapter 1 is split between 2, but you have to read them both.
Yeah.
They're not the same or anything. It's basically what happened was he just went a little long.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the fic. I highly recommend reading it. It's very different in some ways and somewhat similar in other ways to other fics. But yeah, that's that. So we are at the end of this podcast, which is going way longer than I thought it would, honestly.
Sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah, the fanfic stuff actually went on. We actually could go do that again. So if you're actually interested in that, I'll tell you how to contact us. But that's later. If you want to listen to past and future episodes, though, you can go to pony411.libsyn.com. All our episodes are there. You can subscribe to the RSS feed or whatever if you want, or download the episodes. Do what you want there. You could also go to youtube.com/pony411 and like, comment, subscribe. Do the stuff there, because that's where we release if you just want to put it in the tab and put it in the background. Or there's iTunes. Search for Pony411 and subscribe and rate and review there. Or Google Play. Once again, search for Pony411 on there, and you can download and subscribe and whatnot. Cool beans. Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. I just derailed myself. Right. There's, of course, Stitcher, or Stitcher.com, or the iOS or Android apps. Search for Pony411 on those, or this podcast. And there's PonyvilleLive.com. You could go there and see that it's the YouTube version as it comes out. And Ponyville FM every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So check us there.
Tune in.
Tune in, and also tune in for music and live DJs and whatnot. It's a good place.
Yes, it is.
If you want to contact us with, if you want to say, hey, I like that fanfic discussion, I want to hear more or whatever, or just talk about whatever, tell us you didn't like it, or tell us why I'm a bad person for not liking OCs and stories, whatever.
Which you are.
Shut your mouth. You can do so via email, pony411podcast@gmail.com. All that stuff, comments and criticisms and all that stuff. You can also contact us on facebook.com/pony411 and like us there. We'll be doing things there, mostly with new episodes as they come out. And of course, we're on Twitter. We're at Pony411. If you want to check us out there, that's our main way of talking about stuff. We posted pictures of our recent Equestria Girls minis collections.
Yes.
And of course, our personal Twitters. I'm at Nemesis Prime 1. He's at Alcatraz with a 717 and an underscore at the end. I have been talking about Transformers because I got Masterpiece Megatron. I'm very happy about that.
You are very happy
even though
about
he bit me.
Yes, you did. Yes, and I got my bike fixed.
Hooray, his motorcycle.
Yeah. Can't wait to actually start riding it.
That's it. Hopefully I can edit this down to below an hour because, wow, we're going long.
We are.
Tune in next time. We are back on a weekly schedule now.
Yes.
Next week, Season 7 premieres. We will be talking about Celestial Advice and All Bottled Up.
Yes, we finally get back into the seasons.
Woohoo!
Yes.
So, until then, though, keep yourself calm, and please pony responsibly, guys.
Please.
See ya.
See ya.